I'll jump in and do a quick intro. So my name is Mimi. I lead design here at TheyDo. I want to welcome you all to our product webinar. And for today, we're going to do a little bit of a product design takeover. Um, so yeah, let's jump on in. I want to kick off by just giving some context as to what I'll be sharing today, and a little bit on our webinar journey as we're they do after all. So as a design team, I think we look at our role at they do as doing a number of things. So helping us reflect with what we've already shipped to our customers, having an understanding of what's working, what's not working, and figure out ways to improve our existing functionality, which for the service designers, CX designers in the room, I feel that is familiar to you all. And so I'll talk a little bit about an initiative we kicked off this year that really is trying to focus on the small things that contribute to how you use They Do every single day. Then I'll kind of jump into how design is working alongside our leadership team and our product teams to shape what's next. So as they do, we're kind of always asking ourselves, where is journey management headed, and how does this translate into our product experience? So I'm really excited to show you actually a big new concept that we're kicking off into a public beta, and I'll give you a glimpse as how we got there as well. So let's dive in on the small things that matter most. Um, like I was talking about a little bit in the intro, myself and everyone at TheyDo are similar to you. We're in TheyDo on a regular basis, whether that's uploading research to mine for insights, it's reviewing insights, prioritizing opportunities, uncovering new business cases. We do a lot of our workflows within TheyDo, and what that really means is that we're constantly running into those small inconsistencies in UX and UI. And as a product designer, every time I run into those, I feel like it's an extra weight holding onto my shoulders as I'm like, I want to go fix that thing right now. But as with many of companies out there, you never ship a perfect solution. And more oftentimes, you're actually only shipping probably like 60 or 70% of the thing that you actually want to build. And for the most part, it works, right? We want to make sure that we don't let perfection block us from progress. And so for a company of our size and how quickly we want to build value for you all, we start to see our design debt kind of begin to add up. And so we kind of took a moment this year to reflect on how do we want to build a culture around impact. As they do, we know the value that they do can provide for our customers is to identify the most impactful things for you all to work on for your own customers. And so we took this feeling and this kind of anxiety that we felt around all of this like design debt, and we're like, how do we actually act on this and be impactful now? And so we started this initiative called Small Mighty Improvements. Um, and what we define small, mighty improvements is really those small things you run into maybe on a regular basis that doesn't really prevent you from getting that task done or to do that small thing, but it's felt and it gives you a sense of, that's super annoying, whatever, we'll move forward. I think we all feel this every day in other products in real life. And ultimately, all these small things eventually can add up to something much greater. And so we started to run this process internally because one thing that I always love to share with folks is that quality and the definition of quality isn't owned by design. It isn't purely owned by CX or service design or product. It is a collective thing that we all contribute to, and to ensure that, we feel ownership and agency to improve. And so, yeah, one of the internal processes we've started is to create a really simple Slack workflow where anytime you kind of run into these small things, whether it's something as small as, oh, I think there's something misaligned, or found a spelling error, or hey, there's this idea that I got from a customer of like, hey, can we add this small thing because it can actually unlock and align with rituals that our customers have. And so this example right here, which is, yeah, adding a solution delivery date when and have that be shown in the table when something is delivered, right? Something seemingly small, but actually makes a lot of sense and should probably have already been there. But it's not just around requests, right? We actually took this as an opportunity to also do a much broader internal audit, what we call our core flow audit. And this gave us a chance to say, well, one, we have established this initiative, and two, we've gotten buy-in from leadership and from our partners and product teams that we want to invest in this. So then we wanted to take a step back and say, okay, how do we actually tackle this from a place of focused impact? We can go off and fix all these small things, but ultimately, what is the greater thing that we're trying to achieve? And so as we kicked off this audit, we jumped into FigJam and did this really manual process of taking a screenshot of essentially all of our core flow screens. And we really broke it down by trying to analyze each flow and each page for, some visual inconsistencies, but also any like UX heuristic problems that we've identified, or anecdotally from talking to all of you, is like, what have we heard has been really frustrating for our customers? And we started mapping all of that in FigJam, and even started to pull in metric data. So for some of our flows where we track drop off, like what does that look like? What does our creation look like from different entry points, to kind of give us a full picture? And so we synthesize all of this to also create focus for our year of small, mighty improvements, to focus on how do we improve the experience of creating, linking, viewing, and editing our building blocks, because those are things that you all do and we do on a regular basis to build out your journeys, to make sure you have the source of truth within TheyDo. And so in September, as we slowly accumulated these lists, prioritized them, focused on the biggest impact pieces, a team of engineers and our design team came together and actually fixed 43 small, mighty improvements that are the small things that contribute to the bigger picture. And so I'm not going to actually demo every single one of these, but this is kind of like our full list. And I'll jump into TheyDo now just to call out a couple that has stood out to me and to our customers. But as I do this, I also want to share, a lot of these small, mighty improvements, which also makes them powerful, is hopefully once we fix it, you don't actually notice it too much, because it's typically issues that maybe should have been fixed from the beginning, or that just makes so much sense from a UX perspective that, yeah, it just works. And yeah, so let's dive in on some of my favorites. I'm going to look a little bit to the side because I have my list here that I'll refer back to. But starting with creation, right? This habit of, you want to map content into your journey. We introduced earlier this year this idea of a library, which shows you all of your existing building blocks within TheyDo. One of the things that I heard the most was like, hey, it'd be really great if we can actually open up the library directly in line to when you're trying to map an existing building block, which, hindsight 2020 is like, yeah, of course that makes sense. So now you can do that. When you're mapping metrics within a lane, you can open up your metrics and, as always, drag and drop across all of your different building blocks. So yeah, again, a small but mighty improvement to kind of reduce the number of like clicks to make sure you're looking at the right things. Another big one around solutions. So I just talked about this. Oops, let's go in here. We have now are showing you kind of the delivery date of when a solution has shipped. So a lot of you have these indicated to kind of track the full triple diamond. So now that information is easily accessible. In terms of building block linking, so for a long time, you could not actually link a solution to an opportunity. You can link from an opportunity to a solution. And so, yes, to fulfill kind of the bilateral linking, we've now brought that back. Um, we have simplified removing some additional steps when you are, let's see if um, of actually needing to pick a persona before linking to a step and made that a lot easier. We now can let you also bulk edit multiple metric cards as well as nested journeys within your journey. Um, Another favorite of ours that is also unlocking some storytelling opportunities is as you have matrices in TheyDo. We've introduced earlier this year also for you to change your kind of X and Y axes of how you display your opportunities in this metric matrix view. But now you can also change the color so that you can kind of tell the story of like, okay, out of all of the opportunities that you're mapping for customer business value, these are the different statuses of what you've started, what you've shipped, and what is still open. And so again, yeah, something small, but when you look at, okay, how people actually communicate what priorities they are, you use these like 2x2s to kind of help you do that exercise, and easily being able to kind of slice it in different ways makes a whole lot of sense. Um, and yeah, those are some of the things that I wanted to highlight. There's a ton more from the list, but what I thought was important to kind of share with you all on these small, mighty improvements is that, yeah, we hope this shows that we're listening and we're eager to learn and listen for more opportunities that we can actually, yeah, ship these small changes. So in the chat, if anything comes up for you, top of mind right away, feel free to share with our teams. You can always write in to TheyDo as well. And yeah, we run this exercise every quarter. For Q4, we have already kind of a sub list of things that we would like to fix across some of the areas that we are in the process of improving. So a little sneak peek, we're doing some big changes across our filtering and our views that you'll see pretty soon. But yeah, anything top of mind, we'd love to hear, very open to it, and hopefully we can improve the everyday usage of They Do for you. So yeah, there you go. What are some of the small things that you would like to see us tackle next? Feel free to look at the chat or share it in the chat. All right, moving on to the next thing. Take a drink of water really quick. So yeah, like I said earlier, I think for us, one of the things that I really appreciate about They Do, and really why I joined almost 2 years ago, is that I wanted to, work in an organization that I felt like prioritized design as a way of working, as a way of thinking, and a way of influencing. And we have the pleasure of having a CEO and founder who is a designer himself, but working on a product that is building a platform for a design and service design CX framework kind of allows us to create this environment where not only can design influence what we're building now, highlight the things we need to fix, but then also inspire for the future, which I think is a superpower of our function to kind of tell that story by tying in all of these different inputs of what we're hearing on the business side, what we're hearing from customers, and just some strong hypotheses as we see our product evolve. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of great future thinking, yeah, forward thinking people in this room. So yeah, I wanted to share some of the things that we're yeah, feeling inspired around. And to do that, I kind of want to pull us back and highlight some of the core missions that we have at TheyDo as a company. We would love to be able to say we are improving and fixing customer centricity for the enterprise. And what this translates and how I interpret this is that we are able to be more focused and impactful on our decision making because we are really clear on what customers are experiencing and feeling and saying. You're informed and fueled by what you're seeing with how your customers are engaging with your various touch points. And not only that, you're capturing it, you're contextualizing, and you're acting on it. And I think this is also something that really resonates across the market industry, pulling on a Forrester report from 2024 on the state of CX, which is that 81% of business leaders say they're customer centric, but only 3% of their customers agree. And this is part of the hypotheses of TheyDo as a whole, right? It's like internally across your teams, of course you believe and are acting on where you think you're going to be the most impactful, but sometimes and maybe oftentimes there might be a discrepancy on what customers actually see and feel. And so how do we go out and actually fix that, right? There's some missing gaps there that are pointing us in that direction, and I think we all feel that. And it's partially, I think, due to silos within organizations, right? You have a lot of these different functions with the same goal, right? You want to improve and provide more value to your own customers, but sometimes your sales teams and research teams who are both engaging with customers are learning maybe the same or different things, and it makes it difficult to kind of share. And the ways that these silos try and connect themselves is through a bunch of synchronous meetings or additional dashboards and all of these additional efforts to try and bring the organization together. And this is our reality today. And, we want to work on improving and making this easier and more effective and efficient. But I think for us, we're in a place of not wanting to break silos, but actually connect them, right? You have these functional groups that are all kind of interconnecting and working on learning what's right and doing what's right by your customers. And so, how do we unify these? Resources and this focus on the same paths. And so, yeah, if we keep this mission in mind, I think as our team had been thinking about, well, what does this look like in the future? How do we evolve They Do in order to really connect the silos that you have in your organizations to become customer centric? And so we kind of took this. Yeah, mission and vision that we've always had, and started talking to you all and talking to the customers that are experiencing this every day in parallel while using TheyDo and otherwise. And these are some we've kind of highlighted three big buckets of insights that are driving some of our hypothesis of the concept I'm about to show. So, yeah, one, and as I talk through these, if they resonate, feel free to engage in the chat. But it's hard to know where to focus when you land on a new journey, right? So, yeah, we're starting to implement journey management because we want to connect all these silos, but we're in a place where, hey, you jump into a journey and TheyDo, and if you didn't create it, how do you navigate it, right? So, this is an example, right, of the life cycle journey, and I'll take on the persona of a journey collaborator. I'm not necessarily the creator, but I'm close to the work. I kind of know what the essence of this framework is about. And so, I come in here, I'm like, oh, okay, lots of content. I zoom out, and then it's kind of like a wall of information. And this is what we intended to build, right? This was our initial mission of They Do, which is, hey, we know that journey mapping could be a lot better than maybe what happens in a whiteboard, either physical or digital. We know that there's more information that you continuously map to make journey maps more valuable, right? And so, yeah, we've built the product around this. And where we find ourselves now is like we see a lot of organizations have these really rich journey maps, but they're really hard to kind of jump in and quickly know where to focus. And this is an example of that. And the reality is, in terms of that like customer centricity and connecting silos, why does it matter, right? It's because you need to act. You have business goals that you need to reach and achieve on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis, and there's urgency around that. And they do wants to help you identify the right things to be working on. And so imagine kind of this case where, you know that you have problems around self-service backdrop if we were working within the airline industry. And so you come to TheyDo and you're like, I really want to know about self-service backdrop. How do we find the right information within this journey to uncover that? And so, yeah, I didn't create this journey, so maybe I'm not sure where these insights necessarily live. And so, okay, let's try a journey filter. Well, yeah, not quite sure if this journey was built to be able to capture things like that. Maybe I'll go into the insight library, right, and type backdrop. I'm like, oh, okay, great. There's actually some information here, but not really clear where this lives within the journey, which phase or step, what parts are the most painful. I can see that there's pains and gains that kind of lose the context of the business here. So then again, you're kind of like, okay, I can probably click into all these insights and stuff and we can figure it out for sure. But yeah, it's not always so clear as someone who's not deep in this journey. And so then what does that result into, right? So the data lives in TheyDo. You've all invested a lot. What we see in our customers is you spend a lot of time building out and continuously managing these journeys. And so you always get to this moment where you have maybe a functional leader. If you're a CX org, maybe a PM or a product designer comes to you and say, hey, I'm working on this thing. Like, I really want to know what to look at. And so you get to this moment of like, okay, well, now I need to pull this information, create the story, and make it shareable. It could also be to a VP or someone else upwards that wants you to kind of report on what's happening in the organization. And so today, you come to TheyDo and you look at all these different insights. Maybe you go to the opportunity, and if you've built out your opportunities to kind of be written in a way that really captures the full context and all of that, yeah, you can go and maybe share this particular opportunity, or look at the various insights. But wait, I saw there was more backdrop insights. Where could they be? And so if you didn't know that they existed, you kind of are like, okay, this is the insight that we have to share to these external teams. And again, I want to caveat like these are some of the shortcomings we've identified in our product as well. And so yes, I want to highlight like there's lots of improvements here. But it is kind of allows you to look at all these relationships, and that has been working for our customers. And so yeah, what you might do after this to make this journey data shareable is to go to your storytelling format, whether that's FigJam and creating different slides and frames, a PowerPoint, maybe a Word doc, to then manually take screenshots, pull all the journey data from TheyDo, create your presentations, and contribute to that earlier problem I was saying with spending a ton of time kind of connecting the silos through these different artifacts. And this is something we hear from our customers all the time. I've talked to quite a few of our customers that feel this pain, right? So every single maybe month or on a quarterly basis, you're spending anywhere between a few hours to a few days creating these rich documents to kind of highlight and showcase the impact of all the journey data that you've collected. And so, yeah, a really big pain point. And we started to observe a lot of and hear from these insights, hear these insights from our customers. And we all started to observe a lot of use cases that we see TheyDo, people coming to TheyDo to figure out, which is we've mapped the journey. So what do I need to know and how are we acting on it, right? So you have these rich journeys that now you actually want to say, so what? So how do we actually know where to focus? And the second scenario being, hey, we have prioritized improving X by Y. So how are we tracking? We have this business goal. What are all the things that are contributing to it? reflected by what we're hearing and what we're measuring. And one of the things that all of these things kind of bubbled up, and then we synthesize into this greater opportunity to help us uncover what's next, which is how do we make it possible for you to engage with your Journey 8 data differently so that you can focus on impact, right? Coming back to our initial goal that we've set out to accomplish. And so this has kind of triggered a whole bunch of different ideas that today I'm going to show one of the concepts, but this is kind of how we are thinking about this next phase. Is like we are doing a great job in supporting journey management to scale, right? We're getting a lot of value from being able to layer all these journey maps and to see the business impact that can be driven by connecting all of this information together. But there's an evolution, there's a next phase to actually ensure that you can use this data to continuously being impactful within your organizations. And so an early concept that I'm excited to introduce to you is our Ask TheyDo feature. So you have all this data and all this information that's linked into it. And so how do you make sense of it? And so yes, we are introducing a way for you to have an Ask TheyDo partner that can be your journey management assistant to kind of work alongside you, identify the big questions that you have. And so, yeah, I'd love to demo this and show you how it works. So let's jump into this journey framework. We're showing a use case of an airline, and I'm actually going to jump into this traveler one. This traveler experience, right? So this is an L0 journey framework of a journey framework where it gives you kind of an overview for a bunch of information. Sorry, I need to move some toolbars. You'll see this new Ask TheyDo entry point. And this is an opportunity for you to ask questions about what's going on within this framework, ask questions about insights, opportunities, solutions, metrics, and even access nested journey data. You can even get guidance about journey management practices and how to get the most out of TheyDo. And so, yeah, this is probably something you've seen out there before, right? We were not the first to launch kind of a experience where you can chat and ask questions. And so uh, here is a chat experience that uses pulls from all the information that you have within your journey. So let's use an early example, right? I said it's really hard when you jump into a journey and you don't actually know how this journey is mapped. So let's maybe ask it, give me a summary about this journey and highlight the most important things to know. At this point, what TheyDo is doing for you is kind of thinking about this question. It's retrieving kind of what this journey is and kind of shaping a summary and highlighting key information. So it's generating kind of what it generates a summary for what it believes this journey is about. So this is a high-level airline passenger journey spanning across 5 phases. Some of the key highlights. So there's 3 company-wide strategic objectives that runs across all phases. So you'll see here across increasing revenue, cutting costs, and strengthening foundations. It highlights performance concerns, so NPS, these various metrics. It shows you the top pain point that you can find and where you can dive into a nested journey to get more details. So even at this point, right, it's a pretty short summary, and maybe we'll ask it, can you elaborate and make this summary longer to highlight key pain points and what we're doing. So can even tell it to do more work. But I think what's really interesting at this point is if someone comes and asks you, hey, I really wanted just a quick summary of what's happening on this journey, typically would have taken quite a long time. You can ask TheyDo, copy this and send it off into whatever format is necessary. So yeah, you're kind of it's kind of showing you how it's thinking, and it gives you an even more comprehensive version, kind of highlighting critical pain points and a bunch of gives you a breakdown of the opportunities. So Yes, why don't we go ahead and also look at, yeah, being able to kind of open in line and then ask they do more questions. So our second example was like, hey, you have this topic that you're really interested in learning more about. You are pretty sure it's here, but you don't know where to look. So I think the example was self-service backdrop. So tell me everything I need to know about service check. Pretty proud of myself how accurately I can type in this demo. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm like looking at how I'm doing there. So yeah, okay. So it's searching the journey for self-service bag drop and that as a topic. It's also, as you can see, kind of looking at maybe there's some information about best practices, but then it quickly knows, no, we shouldn't search at help center. Let's go back to the journey. And so here's a quick summary of bag drop. So it is identified as a highest priority pain point in your traveler journey. Some of the major issues include poor bag drop and kiosk experiences, giving a summary of that, highlights some key needs, and it identifies a strategic opportunity of how you're addressing that bag drop issue with next steps. And so, again, really easy. You can copy this, paste it into whatever format that is useful. I'll ask a third question around kind of business impacts, and then yeah, I can show you a little bit about some other capabilities. But then, yeah, you have a summary. You want to focus on a key topic, and then let's actually understand how this impacts our business. So, how does this pain point around bag? Sorry, the message keeps popping up in the corner cover. How does this pain point around backdrop impact our business goals? Again, it's thinking and showing you the thought process. So this is actually something I really love that our team was able to push through. I think part of the like working with AI, and I even see this in the way that I engage with it, is like you never really know what information it's pulling from, right? So even in our thought process, it kind of shows you, gives you some idea of like what information it's pulling from, right? Because we know that AI sometimes can hallucinate, make things up. And so when you're asking these questions, kind of wanting to know how it got that information, but caveat, of course, that yeah, it is still AI. It still, can make mistakes. So always double check where the data is coming from. But it's cool to be able to see its thought process and how it lands there. So, okay, the business impact for backdrop. So because it's tied to this initial objective, failed self-service means higher labor costs, and it gives you the current impact. It kind of infers and summarizes maybe financial consequences, and then yeah, also looks at some of the other metrics. And information. I won't dive through all of this, but pretty comprehensive kind of explanation here. So, yeah, this isn't meant to necessarily answer every single question, but I think what we're excited about internally on the team as we are have rolled this out in private beta to some of you all, is that really interested to see how it really becomes a collaborator, a partner to work through some of these big questions alongside you. And I think, in a world where, yeah, our journeys are rich and they're only going to get richer in data, there's going to be a lot of questions that you just want a quick answer to. And this is our first step towards that, right? So, speaking of being a partner, right, it's not only around working with your journey data, but it can also help you kind of evaluate your journey management best practices. So we've trained Ask TheyDo to also understand, okay, what is journey management? Um, uh, uh, what is journey management? What are the best practices? How can you do it? And they do. I saw some questions popping in, by the way, so thank you for engaging. I'll kind of get to those at the very end. So keep asking. But so yeah, as I was saying, it's like you can also ask it questions about like how your journey is built. So let's do that. Let's see. We can say mm, where are some gaps in my understanding of the customer experience? Is there any, let's say, phase or step throughout the framework that we should do more research on. Yeah, this is a new type of question. Let's see how it responds. Okay, so it's saying it's analyzing journey coverage to identify gaps. And it's thinking about where additional research would be most valuable, analyzing building blocks. Okay, let's see. So it says, based on analyzing both your L0 overview and this life cycle journey, L1, it says the critical gap is in dream and book phase, and the missing intelligence, which is the what, that there's low conversion, website crashes, and payment timeouts, but not the why. So it gives you a bunch of questions of maybe what you might ask, gives you business impact. This is your biggest revenue leak. And yeah, I think this is really interesting to help, gut check your own understanding, right? I think when I think about where AI becomes really powerful, it's not that it's going to replace the things that I do, but it can help augment and gut check and work alongside me, to make sure the things that we should be paying attention to are the right ones. So, at least my personal opinion, of course. So yeah, it gives you really, this is actually a fairly long answer. I'll have to dig into this more. It gives you, even a research prioritization framework, very interesting, and methods for how to do that research. So thank you, TheyDo. That was actually more than I anticipated. And so, yeah, it can help you identify, okay, some of your gaps, but maybe you were also curious about some of the functionality, with how to even use TheyDo in the first place. So we recently made some changes to our taxonomy. If you haven't discovered, we now allow you to create different types of tag groups. So let's ask them about it. Can we create groups for tags? How do we do that? And yeah, it says, I don't have access to information about tag management. Okay. I don't know if that's entirely true, but I see that it's searching our help center. So maybe, yeah, in the moment it doesn't, but it's now reading the help center. So I'm hopeful it will pull the right information. Yeah, it's thinking, it's reading, it's searching. Um, and yeah, we can even take a look. Okay, yeah. So it kind of already shows you what information it's pulling from across these two Help Center articles from TheyDo. So yeah, it tells you right away. This is how you create and manage tag groups, types of categories of tags, all this good stuff. And it even links you to sources to learn more. So yeah, okay, this was a big demo. We talked a lot about different use cases and such. So one last thing I want to ask you all about, if you haven't already, I'll look into the chat in just a bit, but like, what use cases can you think of to use Ask They Do for? We spent about a month actually building this first version. One of the things we're doing internally as a team is kind of having these like spikes where we just all in focus on an idea we're really excited about, and Ask They Do was the outcome of that sprint. And so we're really eager to learn what types of questions you would ask, like what role does this play in your workflow, how can you break it, more importantly. I want to share that we're actually opening our public beta for this on Monday. So if you are interested, please, yeah, reach out to your journey management coaches, CSMs, can reach out to me. I'll share my email directly in chat for you to ask. But if you have AI enabled within your TheyDo organization, this is something for you to try out as soon as Monday. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to jump into chat and questions now and see, yeah, what I can help answer. Um, cool. Um, Perfect. Okay. I'll start from top to bottom. So, does it learn about your journeys, or is it a fresh start from each prompt? So yes, great question. Right now, it's not storing memory yet. So yeah, we built this in quite a short period of time. We're jumping back into the V2 next month to kind of tackle even more. I can even give you a preview. So right now, what Ask TheyDo can do is retrieve information that's there. It can summarize it. It can hypothesize and create like different interpretations for things. But what we have a proof of concept for that we need to continue working on is actually being able to update your data for you. So, hey, can you link these two things together? Can you update maybe this opportunity description? And it can start to do a lot of that stuff for you. It's still being worked on. We're not quite there yet, but that's also what to expect. And to answer your question, Hans, I think memory storage, right? Like, how do you actually continuously learn for each session, for the journey, what types of questions, so that it can further cater to that? Great idea, and we're thinking about it. Just I don't believe in this first version just yet. Sophia, would presentation views to quickly pull out reports in a form of a dashboard to present be possible? So, um, are you talking about if I were to maybe are you talking about like from Ask They Do, like if you were to tell it to pull out information, could we like extract a report from it? Is that what you mean? If you can follow up in the chat. If that is what you mean, of like, hey, can you produce a summary or yeah, a doc or a visualization for this? It can't do that right now, but we are, I will say, working on it. I am not going to share anything now. I'll give you this carrot and say you'll hear more about that soon. Does they do have an affiliate program? Affiliate program. I unfortunately am not the right person to ask. And I know Adrian's on the call. Can I will follow up with you and give you an answer. I don't want to give you the wrong one. So rather than pretending I know, I will yeah, find out and reach out back to you. Cool. Any other questions? I see also, yeah, a bunch of maybe ideas on for small mighty improvements. Okay, I see more information about exporting. So yeah, Aaron, you followed up with Sophia. I'd like to see an export option in presentation format. How can they do pull the strategic story out of the box analysis and into a visual story or video that brings the organization forward, more visual? I get it. I hear you. This has been a really big topic. And yeah, like I said, I had a little carrot before. We're not quite ready to share what's in store in the upcoming months, but this is a very top of mind and exciting problem that the team is addressing. If you haven't seen it already, we have a very, very early version of what we call Pulse, which shows data visualizations of your insights, opportunities and solutions using some charts and graphs. We have heard that, yeah, it's definitely starting to tell the story, but it's not quite there yet. But what I will say is coming soon, and hopefully in an upcoming product webinar, we're able to share what that is. But yes, no problem. We feel it and we're on it. Okay. Amazing. Well, I see some folks typing, so I'll give you maybe like a couple more minutes before we kind of wrap up here. Okay. I again want to say a big thank you. This was, a very design forward kind of look at internally how we think about impact and how design and product are playing a role in trying to figure out, like, yeah, retroactively looking at impact and looking ahead at what we can do to help, yeah, make your workflows a lot easier with Ask They Do. We're really excited about what's coming in the next few months and even in this next year. So this is a glimpse at all of our yeah, feature set to kind of help allow you to work with your journey data in more powerful ways. So, yeah, if you have any additional questions, let me throw you my email in the chat. And yeah, any other questions about Ask They Do, especially if you want to join our public theta, reach out to our team, reach out to me, and we'll get that all set up. So, yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and evening, depending where you're calling from. Nice to get a chance to see you all.